The first time I received the letter from the HOA, I thought it was just another routine complaint. It said my home-based business was violating neighborhood rules. No commercial activity allowed in residential zones. They demanded I cease operations immediately or face fines and legal action. My name is Rachel Simmons, and while I live quietly in this suburban community, I'm also a federal investigator working for a specialized agency that deals with complex financial crimes. But I keep my professional and personal life separate, especially around here. No one knows my true line of work. I like it that way. The business they targeted was my modest but legitimate home consulting practice. I meet clients by appointment, run all paperwork digitally, and maintain strict confidentiality. There are no signs, no heavy foot traffic, no delivery trucks, nothing to disturb the peace. Still, Karen from the HOA board seemed determined to shut me down. Her letters grew more aggressive, warnings about zoning violations, threats of fines up to $1,000 a day, and notices of possible eviction. She said the neighborhood's quiet charm would be ruined by my unauthorized commercial use. I was frustrated but cautious. I knew better than to react impulsively. Instead, I used my investigative skills to dig deeper. I reviewed the HOA's covenants, city zoning laws, and the definitions of home business versus commercial enterprise. It became clear the HOA was overstepping. Their rules allowed home-based businesses that didn't produce noise, traffic, or nuisances. I fit all those criteria. But Karen and the board had their minds set, apparently unwilling to listen to reason. I decided to attend the next HOA meeting and face the issue head-on. At the meeting, Karen stood at the podium, flanked by a few board members. "Ms. Simmons's business is a violation of our community standards," she said loudly, glancing pointedly at me. "Allowing this kind of activity encourages others to ignore the rules. We must protect our property values and quality of life." When it was my turn, I took a deep breath and stood confidently. "I respect the community's rules and have made every effort to comply," I began. "But I want to clarify that my business operates strictly within local laws and HOA guidelines for home occupations. There are no disruptions caused by my work." I shared copies of the zoning ordinances and HOA regulations, pointing out the allowances for home businesses like mine. Karen frowned but pressed on. "Still, many residents feel uncomfortable with any business activity here. It's about the community's comfort." I nodded. "I understand community concerns, but I'm also a federal investigator, sworn to uphold the law. I'm here to assure you that I conduct my business ethically and within all regulations. Moreover, I'm happy to discuss ways to ease any neighborhood worries." I let the room absorb my words. Then, dropping the professional tone slightly, I added, "If I may be frank, Karen, threatening legal action over a compliant home business isn't the best approach. It could expose the HOA to lawsuits, especially if it causes undue harm." The room quieted. Karen looked taken aback, clearly surprised by the revelation of my profession. One of the board members whispered, "You're a federal investigator?" I nodded. "Yes, it means I'm used to reviewing evidence carefully before acting. I suggest the HOA does the same." The meeting ended with no immediate resolution, but the tone had shifted. Over the following weeks, I met with Karen privately, explaining my role and the risks of arbitrary enforcement. I also offered to help the HOA revise their business policies to be fair and legally sound. Eventually, Karen backed down. The HOA officially withdrew their complaint, apologized for the undue stress, and agreed to allow my business to continue under existing rules. Neighbors who had expressed concerns approached me with apologies and curiosity. I explained the basics of home occupation laws and reassured them I was committed to keeping our community safe and peaceful. This experience taught me that sometimes, even when you hold power and authority, the best weapon is knowledge combined with patience. And sometimes revealing who you are, not to intimidate, but to educate, can help transform misunderstanding into respect. The HOA may have thought they could silence my business with threats, but what they didn't know was that I had the skills, the authority, and the determination to defend my rights and the community's well-being at the highest level.